Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into another edition of Key Time Sports. It's Key Time Sports coming back to talk about the Tuesday night slate of NBA games. There were three games that really caught my eye last night in the National Basketball Association. The first game I'm going to talk about is the Detroit Pistons. Now, the Detroit Pistons are 37 and 29. Currently, they are the number 6 spot in the Eastern Conference. So, when we look at the Detroit Pistons from where they were last year till now, they have made tremendous, and I do mean tremendous progress. You can see it from how the team plays and their head coach. Now, as far as the starters last night, Tobias Harris, he had 12 points. Azur Thompson had 8 points. Tim Hardaway Jr. had 11 points. Jalen Duren had 15 points. Cade Cunningham had 27 points. Now, this is one of the best young lineups in the NBA, and I would not be surprised if everything holds serve when it comes to the New York Knicks and the Detroit Pistons. They will be playing each other in the first round. That's if everything holds up right now. If everything holds up. So now, when we look at the both of these teams, well, when we look at the Detroit Pistons, we see a team where they are young. This year is they are going to gain some playoff experience. If they do win a playoff series, if they win in the first round, it would not surprise me. But I don't see them going very far in the playoffs outside of a second round exit. And who knows the New York Knicks, they may beat them in the first round, but this is an experimental year for the Detroit Pistons, and this is the kind of team that the Detroit Pistons fans were begging for last season. Now to get to their bench, Simone Faccio, 8 points. Lindy Waters the third, 6 points. Paul Reed, 0 points. Ronald Holland the second, 4 points. Isaiah Stewart, 7 points. Dennis Schroeder, 11 points. Malik Beasley, 14 points. And Marcus Sazur, 0 points. So this is this is not going to be their playoff lineup when it comes to as far as bench production concerned, but what the Pistons have done, they have given their fans hope. They have given their fans the utmost confidence that they can go into a hostile environment and pretty much give that team a run for their money. So the Detroit Pistons and Houston Rockets in the playoffs, they might make some noise, both of the teams, because they are the top two youngest teams in the NBA. The average age for the Detroit Pistons is 24. The average age for the Houston Rockets is 24. So both of them are tied for the top two youngest teams in the NBA. And outside of all of that, the Detroit Pistons, they are a good team. That's really all I have for the Washington Wizards and the Detroit Pistons last night. Now, the game that everybody was talking about last night, potential playoff matchup here, the Milwaukee Bucks and the Indiana Pacers. Let me tell you, did anybody see Tyrese Halliburton's 4 point game winner? I mean, he made the 3 point shot and he was fouled and he made the free throw. You don't see too many 4 point plays in the NBA. So now, when we look at the Milwaukee Bucks, like I've been saying over over the last couple of months, the Milwaukee Bucks are an average team. You can see the Milwaukee Bucks last night. Taurean Prince, 18 points. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 19 points. Kyle Kuzma, 9 points. Brook Lopez, 23 points. Damian Lillard, 15 points. Everybody was balanced as far as their starters. They just couldn't get nothing from their bench. You had Jericho Simmons, 6 points. Gary Trent Jr., 9 points. Kevin Porter Jr., 9 points. AJ Green, 6 points. So this was pretty much a bad distinction of a bad extension of what the starters put on the floor, and everybody expects every bench, when the starters set the tone, the bench players are supposed to continue the tone. Excuse me. What I'm saying is the starters, they set the tone. Now, the bench players, they need to come off of the bench and elevate that and keep that momentum going. And I didn't see that last night with the Milwaukee Bucks at all. Now, if you have a good bench, what I say from a good NBA bench is everybody has to at least score 10 to 12 points coming off the bench, because every championship team, I saw that with the Denver Nuggets a couple years ago. Everybody that came off the bench for the Denver Nuggets, they averaged 10 to 12 points. And even some of them averaged 15 points coming off the bench. Now, for the Milwaukee Bucks, will they have these players averaging that come playoff time? I wouldn't bet no money on it, because the Milwaukee Bucks bench production has been middle of the pack all season, and I don't see why it could change now, because we are only 3 weeks away from playoff time. We are. And when I get to the Indiana Pacers, we know that they are led by Tyrese Halliburton. And let me tell you, Tyrese Halliburton last night, I'm going to say this, he had a quiet, and I do mean a quiet 14 points last night. But the last 4 points on his stat sheet was the most critical of the game. Everybody, if you watch this game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It was 5 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Pacers needed a bucket. Tyrese Halliburton got the ball, dribbled it down the court, shot a three, got fouled, made the and 1-2, and the Milwaukee Bucks lost the game. Now, Pascal Siakam, he had 25 points. Aaron Naismith had 9 points. Miles Turner had 13 points. Andrew Nabar had 12 points. Tyrese Halliburton had 14 points. And that is the starters for the Pacers. Now, for the bench, Obi Toppin, he had 3 points. Thomas Bryant had 10 points. Tony Bradley had 0 points. TJ McConnell had 12 points. Benedict Mathurin, he had 17 points. So the bench, they did okay last night for the Indiana Pacers. But like I always say, when it comes to both of these teams, if the playoffs start today, the Milwaukee Bucks would be playing the Indiana Pacers just like they did last season in the playoffs. And who has the edge in this potential playoff matchup? Because from what you see right here, they both have the same exact record. I'm not sure if they have to play each other again before the regular season ends, but if they do, that will be the determining factor on who is the 4th seed and who is the 5, because the top 3 seeds in the Eastern Conference, you can pretty much pencil them in already. You can Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm going to get into them in a few minutes. Cleveland Cavaliers have clinched their playoff spot. Boston, we know that they are not dropping. New York, they are the third spot. The fourth and fifth spot currently are the Milwaukee Bucks and Indiana Pacers, but that could fluctuate. In the last couple of weeks, we could see Indiana being the fourth and Milwaukee being the five. But either way, that was a great game last night. And the final game I am going to cover in this 3-game segment that I have is the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they made history last night. 15 consecutive wins. 15 consecutive wins is a franchise record in the Cavaliers' history. Now, I'm not going to talk about the Brooklyn Nets at all because they don't need recognition, because I said before the season started, the Brooklyn Nets would be one of the worst teams. So let me get to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, the Cleveland Cavaliers, we know that they are 55-10. They have the top spot in the Eastern Conference, and they have home court advantage in the Eastern Conference. Yes, they have home court advantage in the Eastern Conference, and they may have home court advantage throughout the entirety of the playoffs, including NBA Finals, because right now, as you can see, Cavaliers 55-10, Oklahoma City, they are 53-12. So there's a lot that can shake up within the last couple of weeks of the NBA season. But one thing I can say when it comes to the Cleveland Cavaliers, Evan Mobley, 21 points. Isaiah Orko, 6 points. Then you have Jared Allen, 23 points. Darius Garland be balling. I mean, this brother can just straight ball. I mean, he can find his own shot. He doesn't have to, he creates shots for his teammates. But when you have a player that can go get his own shot no matter what, like Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland can do, the team is going to be great, and that's exactly what the Cleveland Cavaliers are. Darius Garland, 30 points. Max Strus, 10 points. Then that's the Cleveland Cavaliers starters. Then for the bench really didn't do anything. But like I said, most of these benches now, they need to start preparing their playoff lineup. So you had Dean Wade with 3 points. You had Sam Morrell with 6 points. You had Javonte Green with 3 points. Then you had Craig Porter Jr. with 7 points. Now, Donovan Mitchell, he did not play this game last night. He was out for rest concern. He was out for rest. Now, do I believe that Donovan Mitchell, he is going to be okay? Yes. See, Donovan Mitchell, he was out yesterday because he has an injury. He's nursing an injury, and he is day to day. So Donovan Mitchell, grown. He had a groin injury. So he is out day to day. So from what it looks like the Cavaliers are going to still win games without Donovan Mitchell. And when Donovan Mitchell gets back, like I said, Eastern Conference Finals, it's going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. Now, Cleveland, they've won versus Boston in the regular season, but a 7-game series and you playing in the conference finals every other day. And let me tell you, after you play a 7-game series, it's what can you consistently stop that the other team does best? Because after, like I said, in the playoffs, 7-game series, the first game is a fill out game. But by that seventh game, you already know what both teams do consistently well. It's a matter if you can on the defense for the team that's playing defense, can you stop your opponent consistently from doing what they can do so well? So that's all I have for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Congratulations on eclipsing a franchise record 15 wins. Please, and with that, those are my reactions to last night's NBA slate of games for Tuesday night, March 11th, 2025. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Click the notification bell to get notified of all of my reaction videos, shows, and other content. We are also doing an expansion on Instagram with my other show that I am going to do in 5 minutes. Key City Sports on Instagram. Go follow Key City Sports on Instagram, and please follow Key Time Sports on YouTube. And remember one last thing, always, always, the key is always